I would now like to introduce our first speaker, Judy Warnick, a candidate for Washington State Senate, District 13.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you to the Grant County Historical Society. This is always a lot of fun. I heard years ago we used to get to speak in a manure spreader, and I don't know what happened to that manure spreader, but I should donate my old one to that. I want to just thank you. I have been your state representative for almost 8 years now, and it's been an honor and a privilege. During those 8 years, I have risen to leadership position in the House Republican Caucus. I'm the caucus chair currently, and I've been on the Capital Budget Committee as ranking member. I'm on the Ag and Natural Resources Committee, and I'm on the Education Committee. Now I'm running for the Senate. It was a tough decision to make because I liked where I was in the House. But I really am looking forward to serving you all now in the Senate. And I'm going to ask for similar committees because those committees are important for our district. And I want you to know that I have not forgotten my roots while I was over in Olympia. And my roots include growing up on a family dairy farm in a small town, even smaller than Ephrata. My roots include being a wife and a mother to 3 daughters and now a grandmother to 7 grandchildren. That's why the most important piece of my platform is going to include education. We need to give our teachers and our students the tools that they need. We've got great teachers, we've got great students, but we need to give them the tools they need to succeed in life. And without education, they can't do that. Thank you. The next platform piece of mine is the water issue. We live in the Great Columbia Basin. We have the Grand Coulee Dam. We have the Great Big River that flows sometimes more quickly than others through our district. But without the water, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be able to survive. And part of our district now includes Lincoln County. They are losing their water in that county. We need to pay more attention to our water to keep it sustainable for farming, for our communities, and for our recreation and fish. So second priority is making sure we have water. And transportation. We can't get our egg crops to market. We can't get them to the ports without transportation. So those 3 items, education, water, and transportation, are going to be my key in my platform. I really appreciate Mike talking about the $1 billion. Am I at the red already? Is that what it is? Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you, and I appreciate your support.
Thank you, Judy. Before our next speaker, would the candidates for Grant County Auditor please come up to the on-deck circle? Our next speaker is also running for State Senator 13th District, is Mohammed Saeed.
Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Saeed. I've been here for 52 years. And I salute this kind of rally and the League of Women Voters. Unfortunately, we are not that anymore much involved. It's mostly ads and stuff like that. Anyway, I decided to run basically for business because I found out last year those oil-rich Gulf states, 6 of them, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, they spent $27 billion in traveling. So I said, we have same landscape, we have all of this here, we have agriculture, we have training, we have all of this. Why we cannot get like 10% out of those $27 billion to come over here. Anyway, I have a plan. It's all detailed here in this brochure. Then I also would like to get some reform on the healthcare, which has lots of flaws in the Obamacare. The other things I would like to address things which are very important, such as through legislation, through the healthcare, as I feel there is very important to have a co-payment, for example, for every patient who is on welfare. To pay $1 to $5 every time they see a doctor, they go to the emergency room, or they fill a prescription, because so much abuse. Anyway, I cannot do this. Everything is detailed here. I address 10 groups here, which I feel that I am their candidate. Democrats, young people, my patients, etc. Even I address the Christian conservative, because I am pro-life, pro-family, pro-traditional marriage. The only thing I could not address those who are watching mostly Fox News, Sean Hannity or Mike Huckabee, because I'm a Muslim. At one time I thought I might change my name from Muhammad to Mike and Saeed to Smith, but I decided against that, as I am still the same person, stuff like that. This morning my secretary told me I have 53,500 likes on my Facebook, Dr. Dr. Muhammad Saeed. I ask you to watch that, to see it. 54,500, not necessarily from the United States, from overseas, because I would like to make this state, our political system, is an example for overseas, because we have so many problems over there, unfortunately, because we have to be an example, you know, that even we disagree, we are different parties, we are still accept the outcome. Okay, thank you very much, and I have to get this for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next race will be for Grant County Auditor. We'll first hear from Jacob Taylor.
Thank you. I'm Jacob Taylor, and I'm running for Grant County Auditor. I did want to take a second to thank Pat, the Museum Director, and the Historical Society for putting this on. It's quite an event, and we all appreciate the opportunity to speak. As I said, I'm Jacob Taylor, CPA, state certified with the state of Washington, and the Grant County Budget Director and Chief Accountant. Prior to that, I served 6 years as the Assistant State Auditor for the Washington State. I'm running to serve and to ensure that your taxpayer dollars are spent properly. I've been doing the Chief Accountant job for the last 2 years, and I've learned a lot being able to work with Dave Firebaugh, who's here supporting me, and I appreciate that. Working with him for the last 2 years, I've learned a lot about not just the accounting department, but about the recording department, the licensing, and the elections, and how all of those operate and run. And I look forward to being the auditor. One of my plans is to run 3 or 4 terms as the auditor, and then one of the things I really liked was when I worked for the state auditors was the idea of becoming the state auditor sometime. So I'd like to serve 4 terms here, really help continue to grow Grant County, and then make a run for the state auditor someday. One of the things I wanted to make sure that I got across was that a county auditor needs to have integrity and a thorough understanding of governmental finance. As a CPA, I hold myself to the highest level of ethical standards. And as a former Assistant State Auditor and your current Budget Director and Chief Accountant at Grant County, I have been working my whole professional career in governmental finance. And I believe that I have the experience, knowledge, and integrity to continue leading Grant County forward. Grant County is currently doing very well. It's prospering and I hope to be able to be part of the elected officials that continue to move it in the right direction. What is $1 billion? I wanted to talk real quick about what is $1 billion. Grant County's annual budget is $100 million, so Grant County goes through $1 billion in about 10 years. So we need to make sure that we have elected officials that they understand where that money is being spent, where it's going, and that it's being spent in accordance with RCWs and the rules and regulations that govern those. And working for the state auditors for 6 years, I got a good chance to learn all of those regulations, not just for counties, but for cities, for fire districts, for water districts, for hospital districts. So I have a good understanding and knowledge of all the RCWs and the guidance and requirements that we are under to spend the money. So I just want to say thanks again. My name's Jacob Taylor, running for County Auditor. Thank you.
Before our next speaker, would the following three candidates for United States Representative please come forward and be ready? Eustaquio Beltran, Dan Newhouse, and Clint Didier. We will now hear from Michelle Jadland.
Hello, my name is Michelle Jadland, and I'm running for Grant County Auditor. When my husband and I moved here from the Yakima Valley, it didn't take us long to realize that this was a great place to raise our family. We've now lived in Grant County for 30 years. 23 of those years I've worked for the county, 16 in the auditor's office, and the past 4 as an accountant for the auditors. During this time, I decided I would run for auditor in the next election. So I hadn't finished my degree, so I decided to go back to college. While raising a family and working full-time for the auditor's office, I proudly earned my bachelor's degree in accounting. Because of my experience in the auditor's office, I feel that there's a couple of things that we can improve. First, we need a full-time auditor. We have great departments, but without leadership, we lack effective communication. Second, we need transparency. The public should be able to access the information they request online. And finally, we're just coming out of recession, and I will not waste money on programs that are not necessary. I will be around all evening. If you have any questions, stop by and see me. Thank you. Vote Michelle Jadland for auditor.
That was quick. I didn't see the yellow light, so I wasn't ready. Okay, our next group of speakers are all running for United States Representative from the 4th Congressional District. Our first speaker will be Eustaquio Beltran. Going once. Going twice. Gone. Our next speaker will be Dan Newhouse, and he's here.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Good. All right. What a wonderful setting for a political rally. This brings me back to when I was a kid. We used to do this in the city park, except the politicians were on the back of a truck. But I like this better, back of a train. That's great. My name is Dan Newhouse, and I'm running for Congress. I want to represent you in Washington, D.C. I come from Sunnyside, born and raised in Sunnyside, Washington. I'm a farmer. Been active in my community, in my church. My wife and I raised our 2 kids in Sunnyside. I graduated from Washington State University. I was elected 4 times to the Washington State House of Representatives, representing the 15th Legislative District, and I served for 4 years as the director of the Washington State Department of Agriculture. So between a farmer, my work in Olympia as a legislator, and my work at running a state agency, I think I bring a lot of good experience and qualifications to represent you in Washington, D.C. I understand the issues of the 4th District of Central Washington. They're my issues. I've lived these issues my whole life. And what are some of those issues? Well, the first one you heard. We have almost a $17.5 trillion debt facing this country. That's over $55,000 for every man, woman, and child in the United States of America. To me, that's just an unsustainable path that this country is on, and we've got to change that. And I want to go to Washington and turn that ship around. We have a lot of other issues facing this country, from getting our healthcare system right, to making sure we have enough water in the Columbia Basin and the Yakima Basins for agriculture, for our communities, for industry, to getting immigration policies right so that we can secure our borders, so that we have the necessary workers, and that so our communities are safe. There's a whole host of issues that I want to work on. I want to bring conservative Central Washington values to Washington, D.C. and represent you. One of the most important things I learned in Washington was, in Olympia, was the need to work with people. That's something that I think that is truly lacking in Washington, D.C. today. And that's why we're not getting anything done. I want to go and help change that. Last week, I spent a couple days up in the north part of the state where they're having the devastating fires. And let me tell you, the devastation is huge. It's great. It's a real thing. But those communities are pulling together. It's bad that we have to have a calamity to see that, but those communities are helping each other. People are working hard. And I want to encourage each and every one of you that if you have an opportunity to send any kind of help up to those folks, they truly need it. I'll be going up again this week, and I hope some of you will be too. Again, my name is Dan Newhouse. I'm working hard to be your next representative. I'll be here all night. I want to visit with you as much as I can, and look forward to being your congressman from Central Washington. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We need brighter lights. Nobody can see them. Before I introduce our next speaker, would Janaea Holmquist, Tony Sandoval, and Kevin Midvast come up front. Our next speaker is Clint Didier. I have not seen him, but that doesn't mean anything. He might have sent a spokesperson. Going once. Going twice. Sold. Okay. Our next speaker is Janaea Holmquist.
Well, good evening. Thank you all so much for coming out and joining us tonight. It has been one of the greatest pleasures of my life to serve you in the Washington State Senate. I'm always bragging that I have the best bosses in the world, and I would be equally honored to be your warrior in Congress. Now, as a mother, wife, and taxpayer, I have real concerns about our national legacy of nearly $18 trillion in debt, a struggling economy, and a constant attack on our constitutional rights and our Christian principles. Our next generations deserve so much better. We are all tired of government not living within its means and always asking for more and more of your hard-earned money. Well, folks, I was able to help lead the charge to ensure that Washington State became the first state in the nation to adopt a 4-year constitutional balanced budget amendment. Thank you. And if we can accomplish that in liberal Washington State, I know we can get it done in Congress. I, as your state senator, have never voted for a tax increase on Washington citizens, and no other candidate can say that today. You can count on me to ensure and demand that your government starts living within its means and always remembers who's footing the bill, and it's you, the taxpayers. Now, regardless of the issues that our country is facing right now, whether it be Obamacare, jobs, the economy, standing up for our veterans, defending our hydropower dams, regardless of the issue, I have the proven track record to back up my promises and my commitments. And not only that, I've been able to lead both in the majority and the minority. So right now I'm the chair of the Commerce and Labor Committee, and it's pretty easy to set the agenda and get things done. But before that, facing extreme challenges in the super minority when the Democrats were in charge of the House, the Senate, and the governor's mansion, I was still able to reach across the aisle improve our business climate by passing historic workers' comp reform. And this was the greatest improvement for our industrial insurance system in over 100 years. And it saved employers hundreds of millions, and it helped our injured workers. So that's that tenacity and farm girl grit you get with me on all of these issues. And I've been really blessed to have my proven track record recognized by a lot of citizen organizations. Right now, I've been honored as the Washington Farm Bureau's Legislator of the Year 2 years in a row, which is an unprecedented honor. Just this last week, I was named the Outstanding Legislator of the Year for NFIB for being a guardian of small businessmen and women. And for this race, I have earned the highest NRA rating for being a proven defender of your Second Amendment rights. I will mention I'm also the only pro-life endorsed candidate receiving the Human Life PAC endorsement, as well as endorsements from the Washington State Patrol Troopers Association, Trucking Association. Most importantly, I want your vote, and I would love to earn your support and your vote to be your warrior in Congress. I'm Janaea Holmquist, a proven conservative voice for lower taxes, less regulation, and limited government. God bless.
Thank you, Janaea. Our next speaker is Tony Sandoval.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? My name is Tony Sandoval, and I'm running for Congress. Where's that sheriff at? Wasn't he supposed to be shooting? Oh, he's on break. Okay. I'd like to thank the Grant County Museum. This is beautiful. Your town is actually real beautiful. I played sports, so we never played Orfeda. We were in AA when I played sports, so I never had the honor of coming up here and playing. I know you guys have a steady, good baseball team. That much I know. I also want to thank Mike for trying to control us here, politicians. Looks like there's more politicians than people here, though. So, but you two vote, so I would like your vote also. No candidate in the 4th congressional race could say they've done 25 years of service into their community. I've done pretty much, you name it, I've done it. Levies, 4th of July committees, United Way, you name it. I've been involved. Politics also. Also, no candidate is willing to tackle the violence that's apparently not happening too much here in Ephrata, but it is happening in the other parts of our 4th Congressional, and graffiti. When I grew up, I think there was only one graffiti I've ever seen in Yakima County. Now in Yakima County, it's all over the place. Every time you turn on the TV, they're shooting. It's ridiculous, and we need to get a handle on that. Apparently, I was asking somebody, well, how do you keep graffiti, not in your area here, or gangs out of here? And they go, well, talk to the sheriff. So I think I will talk to the sheriff so we can get some ideas. I'm always a believer that there's not a new idea, you just recycle them. I have, my education ranges from, I've gotten an AA degree from Yakima Valley Community College, and I'm also a graduate of Washington State University in Pullman. And I've met a lot of individuals in this community that went to WSU. So I might get the Cougar vote. I'm also a business owner and an entrepreneur since probably around 10 years. So I know what it's like to deal with bureaucracy. Anybody that owns the business knows that there's L&I, employment security, and I forget the rest of them, but it only takes somebody to say, I think they did this, and here comes government trying to get into your books. Looks like I have 30 seconds, and I hope the sheriff is not back from his break yet, so let me get through my platform. We do need to tackle immigration without a doubt. Always agriculture, because that's the lifeline of the 4th Congressional. Promote policies with jobs, and clean up Hanford Reservation.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Kevin Midbast. Would Len Stockwell, George Seacott, Gavin Seam, and Gordon Allen Pross please be ready?
name is Kevin Midbust. I'm running as a congressional candidate. I did something that I haven't done at any of the forums I've been to, when I've actually typed out what I'm going to say. It's always been a dream of mine to become a lion politician. I'm young and single, so one of my goals for my campaign has been to find a cute girl. But going to the forums, the people tend to be quite a bit older than me. I'm not sure how I really feel about them, but all I have been able to find are cougars. Anyways, as a lion politician, I was told that I need to learn to stack up as much BS as possible. So here we go. Other than my straightforward bill to abolish the Federal Reserve, I've come up with 3 more bills. The first one, I call it the Pilot Protection and Affordable Co-Pilot Act. It's otherwise known as the PPACA, nicknamed Obama Air. This bill will require all U.S. citizens to obtain their private pilot's license, and it requires their employee to help pay for the training and license. Why would I suggest this? Because I watched the movie Airplane, and I understand the consequences of not having passengers on an aircraft that can possibly land an airplane, just in case the pilot and co-pilot eat fish. The second bill, this one's known as the Personal Portability and Affordable Car Act, otherwise known as the PPACA, nicknamed Obamacare. This bill will give all U.S. citizens the ability to obtain a driver's license and access to the affordable car they need. Employers will be required to help their employees get the affordable car they so desperately need. Why this bill? Because everyone will need the ability to get themselves to the airport for their pilot's training. The third bill, known as the Pot Pickers and Affordable Combine Act, otherwise known as the PPACA, nicknamed It's Obama, Man. This bill will require all U.S. citizens to either grow marijuana or spend at least 1 month working in a marijuana field. It will also help make farm equipment more affordable for farmers. Why this bill? Because it will make everyone felons due to the drug war. And when everyone is a felon, then we will have equality. Remember, everyone, we can totally do this because of the welfare clause and commerce clause in the Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Glenn Stockwell.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Glenn Stockwell, as was recorded. I'm from Ritzville, Washington. I've lived over there for about 37 years. I've farmed in dry land. I've also farmed in irrigated ground. For the last 5 years, I've run for state office, and I've also ran for U.S. Senate against Maria Cantwell in 2012. I've always promoted the total completion of the Columbia Basin Project. And I can show you how to fund this without any new taxes, with pre-existing money, and I can have the money in hand within 2 years. First, I met Judy Warnick and Brian Blake in 2009 when I went over and I passed some legislation that I didn't get it passed. They were offering to take it to the floor. And what I did was I obligated Christine Gregoire to form a joint venture with President Obama. I recognized that they were giving out billions of dollars, and I thought this was a tremendous opportunity to jump the hurdle that's been in front of us for 60-some years, was the financing for this project. Both Brian Blake and Judy both supported that. I then came to Grant County, and I met with the Grant County Commissioners, and they all supported the idea also. I put on over 15,000 miles that year going back to Washington, D.C. I took it to every congressman. But here's the problem, and you won't find that with me, because what I've said is I'm going to give all my salary away to a nonprofit entity, and I'm going to give it to kids to go to college. I'm not looking for a job. I know how to put this project in. I know how to do it with pre-existing money. The problem is you get people that run for Congress and they're afraid to lose their job. It's all about number one. When I run, I'm running for you. I'll have the money in hand in 2 years. I'll have the money in escrow accounts. And if I do not succeed at that, I want you to fire me because I'm a man of my word. 1988, my county supported me. I told them I could have a large project. You'll find my name in the Seattle long haul contract. I talked our entire county into taking solid waste and putting it into a recycling plant and then a landfill. And I succeeded at that. If you look at the Seattle contract, you'll find my name in there. But anyway, if you would trust me for 2 years, what I will do, I will go back to that office. I have run multi-million-dollar corporations before. I know how I can run the office, and I will direct our efforts into bringing this project to the 4th District. I have grown to admire Janae over there, but I would like to correct her on one issue. I have never voted for a tax increase in my life against anyone here. So I'm the most conservative person you'll ever find. I live debt-free. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from George Seacott.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you spending a beautiful evening out here with us, listening to the things that we'd like to share with you, our ideas about how we can help improve this already great land that we live in. My name's George Seacott, Republican for Congress. You've heard a lot of great conservative ideals from the number of Republicans we have running here for this congressional seat, and we agree on a number of things. You've heard from a few folks that we need to strengthen our Constitution. You've heard from folks that we need to balance the budget. And you've heard from folks that we need to get our nation's healthcare system in a better position than it's in right now. That the road to socialized healthcare is not the road that we want to be on. Now, these are 3 core reasons that I'm running for Congress. And the thing that you get with me that is different from anybody else, first of all, I've been dealing with these issues. I've been trained with them professionally to deal with these issues. I went to a law school that was founded just 40 years ago. Law school at Brigham Young University. The rest of the university is about 140 years old. The law school is only 40 years old. And why did they found that law school back in 1973? To train lawyers who could become statesmen at the time that our Constitution needed to be defended. And if you're like me, you can agree that right now is that time. We have an executive who is overriding the Constitution at every turn in every way possible. I bring to you a lawyer's perspective. I believe that we're still a nation of laws, and that by an aggressive enforcement of the laws, we can get our Constitution back to where it needs to be, reining in that executive branch and restoring the balance of powers, and restoring to Congress the authority that really is rightfully its authority that has been usurped by the executive. Now on healthcare, I have a challenge. Nobody's taken me up on it yet. To all my other candidates, I've said, come into my law office and solve just one of my clients' concerns with respect to health reform. Nobody can take me up on it because they can't do it. And yet they're asking you to send them back to DC to solve this problem. It just doesn't make sense. I've got the expertise. I've built it up over 20 years. If we want to change, we want a different outcome, you need to send somebody different back there. Somebody who's got the specialized training who can make a difference on this point. Closing up on the budget. 50% of our budget is healthcare and retirement spending. Again, the exact areas that I've been helping employers manage for 20 years as an attorney. I'd like to bring that skill, I'd like to bring that expertise back to the Congress and deal with that half of the budget. Because if we don't deal with it, it's going to be 60% of the budget within 4 years. I don't want that. I hope you don't want that. The other thing that's different, I put together a plan based on these 10 specific pieces of legislation that I will champion as your congressman to accomplish these goals. As a voter, I've always wanted accountability in politicians. And so now that I'm running to serve you in Congress, I offer that accountability. Hopefully 2 years from now, we will all be going over this and we'll say, how'd you do, George? and I expect that I'll succeed and we'll do well. And you'll be able to hold me accountable, because if you got a copy of this, you can do that. I'm hoping that you got a copy of this in the mail. If you didn't, again, I'm George Seacott. I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next candidate is Gavin Seam.
Folks, the only contract you'll see me making with you is this United States Constitution, which I will follow 100%. My name is Gavin Syme, and I'm running for Congress because America is losing its freedom and it's losing its jobs. We need to get legal. We need to get back to the foundations and the principles of America. Friends, we are losing our country. We are losing our country to tyranny and to despotism and to lawlessness, and it's time that we start holding public officials accountable at every level. We need a real plan. A real plan that starts with 100% constitutional voting, and when I mean 100%, I mean 100%. Your congressman doesn't need to be a healthcare expert, because Congress has no business whatsoever being involved in your healthcare, and we need to repeal Obamacare. We need to get legal. We need a real plan that continues into standing on principle. We don't need more politicians playing crony politics and games in Washington, D.C. We need statesmen who will stand on principle and uphold the law and defend our rights and our liberty with their life. We need a real plan that continues beyond that, however, because America is in dire straits, and we must take a stand if we want to change that. We need a real plan that continues into unstoppable conversations. We need representatives that will stand beside us toe to toe with tyranny, and that will spread those brush fires of liberty across America and keep those conversations going, that will inform people, that will get our nation legal again. Folks, what do you want from America? Do you want an America where choice is held up in the name of killing our babies, or where security is thugs at our airports groping our children? Or do you want a nation where we follow the Constitution and we protect the liberty that so many died for? Because, my friends, if we do not stand up, if we do not fight for liberty and stand up for it now, our children and our grandchildren, make no mistake, they will take it back at the price of blood. Friends, liberty is not something to be hidden away on dusty shelves. We should be holding it up in front of us every single day of our lives, and we should be teaching it to our children and to our grandchildren. Liberty is the foundation of this nation. And I will not only vote constitutional, I will spread the word and help to light the brush fires. My name is Gavin Syme. You can find me at callmegav.com, and I ask for your vote for United States Congress. Thank you.
And he finished on time. I stand corrected, it's Gavin Syme. Should I give him another chance to speak? I don't see that happening. Last but not least, finally, we're getting to the end of our candidates for Congress. And we will now hear from Gordon Allen Pross.
We all took a pledge earlier to the Republic. That means no privileges. All these contracts that are with the people, we need to buy out these contracts. My name is Gordon Allen Pross. My camp's name is Gordon for GOP Nation, and my candidacy is no stranger to your federal ballot. This is my 8th time in the last 16 years. The State of the Union. Please. You have a quarter that's only worth a half a penny. You have some tax exceeding 10,000%. You have inflation. You allowed only 10% of the wealth to be legislated to 95% of the American people to pay the lamb's share of the bills. Republic, limit government and the Fed. Get 10% of the wealth, 10% of the income from 100% of the wealth to pay 100% of the bills. Well, that's fair. Your quarter goes back to a quarter, that's 50 fold. That means 1 year's worth of pay at the rate you're getting now would be 50 years. You know, it's been a long time since I've seen a hearse pulling a U-Haul. Let's enjoy what we have here now. We can make that pie so enormous that the smallest slice one could extract from that pan would be more than a fair share for the meager of us out here. Some nations don't even have tax because they use their natural resource. We could take that 10% down to 5% if we really do limited government. We could take her down to 0% if we did one of 101 different ideas. Let's try this one. Let's take the doctrine of teaching our children from K through university and trade school, from teaching them how to learn how to follow and start teaching them how to learn how to think to lead. We've had 35 shootings in schools since Sandy Hook. Get these families off the mortgage, get them onto the less gauge, get them off the treadmill, get a parent poolside at 10:30 in the morning to rear their children with the money that they need to give their children the American experience. It's out there. This American nightmare, this is not America. This is Pretendica. We have a long way to go, people. And I'm telling you, there's 300 million people out there that have had it up to here. Now, it could be a coup. I can't do it on my own. We need to stand together. But you're not playing fair with yourself out here. We have a great foundation in the Constitution. We have great ethnos in our faith, but we have no stewards. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The mind mess and social control that went on before the pharaohs had the blueprints to build the pyramids. They got us dialed in now. They got us figured out. And by the time we usually figure out what's happened, we've either expired, given into sheer defeat, or just flat given up.
Well, folks, you've heard almost half of our candidates. You sat there very patiently. But I'm going to try and lighten things up a little bit. So I'm going to I'll explain to you the difference between a Democrat and a Republican. A Republican and a Democrat were walking down the street when they came to a homeless person. The Republican gave the homeless person his business card and told him to come to his business for a job. He then took $20 out of his pocket and gave it to the homeless person. The Democrat was very impressed. And when they came to another homeless person, he decided to help. He walked over to the homeless person, gave him directions to the welfare office. He then reached in the Republican's pocket and gave the homeless person $50. Now you understand the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Okay, our next group of speakers. If I can find my script.
Not very many, but
Will be the race for Grant County Commissioner District 3. Grant County Assessor. So we have 3 speakers for Grant County Assessor: Lori Grammer, Melissa McKnight, and Dave Dinges. In that order. Would they come forward, please?
Good evening. My name is Lori Grammer. I am currently your county assessor, and I'm hoping for your support to be your future county assessor. Most of you know me, and those of you who don't know me know my reputation. So I would like to spend this time telling you a little bit of what maybe you don't know. What you perhaps don't know is that Grant County is the 3rd most complex county in the state of Washington with regard to property taxes. Third, there are 39 counties in the state of Washington. We have grown considerably over the last 4 years. So earlier when Mike was talking about $1 billion, I think I need you to understand that we do have industries in this county that have spent billions and are asking for $1 million in value. What that does is changes the responsibility of who pays taxes from them to you. And that's part of my fight. That's part of what the assessor does, is make sure that the property values are appropriately distributed across all properties. It is covered in the Constitution. The other thing that you may not know is that the county assessor's office is the largest office outside of law and justice. There are 17 staff in the assessor's office, 9 of which work in the appraisal division. When I look at all the staff in the office, the average length of employment is 14.5 years. Some people, of course, have been there less, some people have been there longer, but the average is 14.5 years. I don't think that there's anybody who's been in their job that long that needs somebody else to teach them how to do their job. All the people that I work with, I consider co-workers more than employees. Although they are employees, I do have a good running office, and I do that for all of you. There's a lot of other information that is available at the website. It's also available in my office. You're welcome. My doors are open Monday through Friday from 8 o'clock until 5. I do not close during the lunch hour. I thank you. I thank the Historical Museum for this wonderful opportunity to address all of you. And I would certainly appreciate your support and your vote in this next election. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord. Our next speaker will be Melissa McKnight.
Hi, I'm Melissa McKnight. I'm running for County Assessor. The Constitution starts out, we the people. We the people. I would work for you, the people. The Assessor's Office, yes, has 17 employees. That should require things to be on time, meet the deadlines, so the information can get to the Treasurer's Office so your tax notices can be out on time. I'm willing to do that. I would be a full-time employee. That's 40 plus hours a week that I would work for you. If you're understaffed and things can't get done, you need to be in there helping out your people to get it done. Now, you guys ask me, who am I? I'm a 44-year resident of the county. I have ties with communities as far as Cooley City, Ephrata, Quincy, Warden, and know plenty of people in Georgia and Royal City. I go down to people and met people in Mattawa and have met some great friends there. And I want to make sure that you know that if you have an issue, you can come in and have it resolved in a prompt manner. Again, it's a full-time job. I thank you guys for coming out today and listening to us all. I want you to know that, all of a sudden I just lost what I was going to say. This is new to me. I am a first-time candidate. But I do know that I work with RCWs all the time. That's what you have to follow. And you have to realize that you have to be there for the people. And you have to be available. So when you cast your ballots, please vote for Melissa McKnight. It's a vote for you, for an employee who will work for you. If you have any questions, call me. My number's 509-398-2297. I would love to hear from you. I would love to answer your questions and hear ideas. I am very open-minded, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Melissa. She didn't even get to the yellow light. Our next speaker is David Dinges.
Thank you, folks, for joining us out here for this rally and the opportunity to share my ideas with you. Again, my name's Dave Dinges, and I'm running for Grant County Assessor. My background is in real estate for the last 20 years in Grant County, stationed in Moses Lake. I've been a top producer every year. Last year, I was awarded from Caldwell Banker an elite certificate for being in the top 3% in the world, which is amazing that somebody could be that successful in real estate in Moses Lake in Grant County. As far as the assessor's office is concerned, I've been in front of the Board of Equalization several times with some clients who had a beef with their tax assessments. One of the biggest general properties are pretty close in their evaluations. Where we're seeing the problems is unique properties. They try to fit those unique properties into a model, which doesn't work. Those unique properties need to be looked at physically, personally, and evaluated directly, personally. I'm going to be the shortest one here today. I've got a booth over here. I had a speech written for 10 minutes, then I was told we had 3 minutes, so I had to butcher that and throw it away. I've got a booth with the whole speech if you want to know more about me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have candidates for Grant County Commissioner District 3, Cindy Carter and Randy Zollman. Cindy, you're first.
I have to pull out my notes just so I remember I'm married, but I am a wife, a mother, and I've been your county commissioner for the last 7.5 years, and it has been an incredible journey, and I've met some fantastic people along the way. So I'm doing my notes out. I'm not a public speaker, even though I've been at this for quite a while. I have been your voice for Grant County, whether it's on a state, local, or federal level. I have represented you individually and collectively with the different problems and concerns if you called me, or the different problems that we've had. There is a huge disparity in the demographics in District 3. We have tenants with extreme wealth and citizens with extreme poverty. And the reason I do this job is I think of that 8-year-old down in Mattawa. He doesn't know where he's going to sleep when he goes to bed, whether it's going to be on a couch or the floor, because there's 3 families living in his household. His home has also been he's been a victim of a drive-by shooting. He didn't get his homework done that night because the police and the sheriff were there till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And that is not a common problem down there. And we have worked closely with the sheriff's office, the schools. We now have a full-time sheriff that is paid for by the Mattawa School District to help with the problems down there. And the problems are all over the place. We have 2,500 miles of roads in Grant County. 1,000 of those are paved, and I know your roads may not be paved, but we are slowly working on getting them paved. We know the importance of the infrastructure, the farm-to-market roads, and we're working on getting those paved. We have a fiscally strong budget. We have worked closely with the elected officials, the department heads. We have about $9 million in reserves, 3 months of working capital to keep going. A couple years ago, we've had some extreme cuts. Everybody did. We did not turn to the voters or to the citizens in Grant County to fix that. We turned to the department heads, the elected officials, and the employees. So everybody worked to work with the budget that we were given, and we have not increased our taxes. It has been an honor to represent you, and I ask for your continued support because this is a job that you cannot do by yourself. We work closely with the elected officials, the department heads, the employees, and all of you to make this happen. So I would appreciate your vote this fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. And next we will hear from Randy Zolman.
Thank you. My name's Randy Zolman. I'm running for County Commissioner. First thing I want to do is recognize the American Legion. As a member of the Quincy American Legion, Post 183, these folks have done a service to our country, and I think we need to applaud that. Now about me. I hate talking about myself, but here goes. I'm a longtime Quincy resident. I've seen tremendous growth in the Quincy Valley, Moses Lake, and the county itself. It's easy to run a business in this county because all the support from the elected officials and getting things done. It's important that we, as candidates, listen to you, the public, and try to solve your problems. It's a very difficult job, and I admire the county commissioners for what they've done. A little bit about me. I started out as a mechanic for John Deere. I volunteered for 8 years as an EMT to Quincy Valley Ambulance Service. I've been with Grant County Fire District 3 since 1979. Today I'm battalion chief down at Crescent Bar, and once in a while I pull a duty officer shift to give the paid guys some time off. I've been self-employed for 22 years as a chiropractor, and I'm a sitting commissioner on the hospital board in Quincy. And in my spare time, I do computer consulting. Now, everything that I do and everything I'm involved with requires leadership. Leadership is the mainstay to the county commissioners. My job as a county commissioner would be to bring that leadership to that facility. With the leadership comes problems, to say the least. You take heat from everywhere, you make it the best job that you can, and you go forward. It is important that the people of the county are the ones that profit from what we do. We need to look at increasing the strategic plan, make sure it's out there and continues to be out there, and get updated at every turn. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next race is always interesting. Is that a Grant County prosecutor? This is one lawyer against another one. And our first one will be Angus Lee.
Thank you everyone for coming. My name is Angus Lee. I'm your Grant County prosecutor. And tonight I'm going to ask for your support in my second re-election. I want to tell you why I want to continue to be prosecutor. It's because my entire adult life has been committed to serving my fellow man. It's been committed to serving you. When I was 20, I joined the United States Marine Corps. I fought for you in Iraq, and I was awarded the Combat Action Ribbon and the Purple Heart. And for the last almost a decade now, I've been working as a prosecutor, serving you again here, fighting crime. As your elected prosecutor, I've handled the most serious cases: murder, rape, burglary, gang crime, and I've won. In my jury trials, I've obtained convictions, guilty verdicts in over 90%. But it's not just about my exceptional trial record, it's about my ability to lead an office with a staff of almost 30 people, 14 deputy prosecutors, many of whom are here tonight. And that's why I'm so incredibly proud to tell you that they are working hard for you under my leadership, and that trial convictions are at an all-time high. Can you guys hear me over the train? Ladies and gentlemen, I've committed my entire adult life to serving my fellow man. I want to continue to do that. I work very closely with our county commissioners and our sheriff, and I think you can ask them about the job I've done, and they will have nothing but positive things to say. I know we've come a long way. There's a long way to go. There's more we can do, and we will. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next speaker will be Garth Daniel.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Garth Dano, and I'm Mr. Lee's opponent who just spoke to you. I'd like to thank Pat and the museum and all the staff here that put this on tonight in this event. I want to also thank you people that have come out tonight to listen to this, except for the politicians. The people that have really expressed an interest to be here and to listen to what we say and try to discern who it is that you would want to vote for. I've been here in Grant County for 34 years practicing law as an attorney, handling both civil and criminal matters. Before I talk about that, I'd like to say that I was thinking today about Grant County itself and where we come from. Grant County obviously broke up from Douglas County a number of years ago. I was thinking about Billy Clapp, one of our great lawyers that lived back about 80 years ago that helped us define Grant County. And from that legacy and from what's happened, we have a great county to live in. We don't live in sagebrush anymore. We have a great agricultural base. We have people that have come here. The county continues to thrive. What I can promise to you, if I'm the Grant County prosecutor, not the next, is simply that I will do everything in my power to make sure the office is run effectively, smoothly, that people will be run fairly, that people will be treated fairly. I was thinking about what Mr. Lee said and his commitment to fighting crime, and that's to me is a fairly easy thing to do. I'm committed to that process too. I don't plan on letting people go or plea bargaining cases. What I think needs to happen is simply to make sure that the prosecutors that are handling the cases screen them well, that if the cases aren't ready to be tried, that they be sent back to the law enforcement, who I want to work with very closely in the administration I would have, and go out and meet all the individual officers and work with the officers so that the reports they write, that the case is ready to be tried when it comes to trial. Mr. Lee talks about his conviction record. I would expect that the prosecutors shouldn't lose any cases. If they're prepared properly, 100%, they should be ready to try when they come into the office, and that the prosecutor's office should not lose a case. I'm a trial lawyer. I've committed my career to doing that. I would love to do things such as have a night court. I'm willing to work weekends, nights. I don't think it's a 40-hour job. I'm prepared to try cases for you. I'm prepared to be your prosecutor. I would ask for your support and vote in this, first in the primary and then in the general election coming up. And if you have any questions of me or would like to talk to me about that, or my record, or you want to talk to other people that may say self-serving things about me, please stop by and be happy to supply you with an endorsement list. Before I finish, I wanted to tell everybody that I had the great good fortune of having Alan White, who's in the back here. Alan's been a prosecutor for 14 years and also done public defense for 11 years. He's agreed to be my chief criminal deputy if I succeed in this, and I ask you for your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Garth. After listening to two lawyers, I think it's definitely time to lighten things up. A first grade teacher in the Midwest is explaining to her class that she is a Republican and how nice it is that a new Republican president has taken office. She asked her student to raise their hand if they too are Republicans and support George Bush. Everyone in the class raised their hands except one little girl. Mary, says the teacher with surprise, "Why didn't you raise your hand?" "Because I'm not a Republican," Mary says. "Well, what are you?" asks the teacher. "I'm a Democrat and proud of it," replies the little girl. The teacher cannot believe her ears. "My goodness, Mary, why are you a Democrat?" "Well, my mama and papa are Democrats, so I'm a Democrat too." "Well," says the teacher in an annoyed tone, "that's no reason for you to be a Democrat. You don't always have to be like your parents. What if your mama was a criminal and your papa was a criminal too? What would you be then?" Mary smiled. "Then we'd be Republicans." I believe our next race is for Grant County Treasurer, and up first is Daryl Pheasant.
My name is Daryl Pheasant, and I've been in my 28th year as your county treasurer. Now, there's a lot of similarities between the county treasurer's position and chief financial officers. There's some things that they do the same. So where I've been moving in the office, we've been moving billions and billions of dollars over all these years that I've been in office. We have been managing a county investment pool for almost 20 years that has provided millions and millions of additional revenues to counties, schools, hospitals, insurance pools, and many other funds. My college education helped me with the core knowledge that's needed for this job, having a degree in finance and a minor in economics with the emphasis in banking. I've taken key statewide roles for the County Treasurers Association as a past president, and I'm the current vice president again for the association. I provide training on various subjects to county treasurers, and will be training new county treasurers in December on my specialties. I've been placed on key committees with the association on the legislative and department revenue, and sent out many communications to the county treasurers to educate them on new issues and processes to improve on efficiencies and encourage consistency in the laws that we took an oath to follow. The county treasurer position is not very popular next to the assessor's office. Not everyone is happy that I took my oath of office seriously in following the laws and prefer me to treat them different than everyone else. I pride myself that everyone gets treated exactly the same and no one gets special treatment. I worry about candidates who promise to do things for special interest groups and ignore their oath of office. The taxpayers deserve a county treasurer who is involved in community service and is a leader in the community. I've been a past president of the Ephrata Rotary Club and the Ephrata Soap Lake United Way. I'm the current president of the Maskers Theater, treasurer for my church, and Ephrata Youth Athletes. I am that person. The taxpayers deserve a full-time working treasurer who knows what they're doing, has the background and experience to not hinder the daily workflow. Our county is one of the most complex counties in the state and deals with large volumes of work that will not slow down with our growing diversified economy and population. I have been that person. Taxpayers deserve a treasurer that's there all the time to answer the questions and have the knowledge of all the laws that go behind that answer. I have been that person. We continue to make improvements each year to be more efficient and provide more options to our taxpayers. We started offering additional payment options on our website for those who want to pay online, and hope to have other options available. Grant County is the envy of the state of our new industries and continued growth to go with our top agricultural farms. I am proud to be part of a great county team that has provided strategic balance in agriculture and business to success. Thank you for letting me serve you for all these years. It's been an honor. I would appreciate your vote in August and November. Thank you.
Thank you, Daryl. Our next speaker is a write-in candidate, Casey Cooper.
Thank you.
I'm a write-in candidate, which is kind of odd. But I'm a write-in candidate because enough people talked to me about running over enough time and offered enough support, and with fasting and prayer of my family, we decided that this was something that we should do. We need an alternative for treasurer. Our current treasurer has been in there for 28 years. And that's not always bad. But in my travelings around trying to raise some funds and some money, I don't hear good things about our treasurer. So that's probably why so many people encouraged me to run. I haven't had much of a chance to get a race going or a campaign going because I made my final decision last week, paid my filing fee, and jumped in with both feet. What I ask of you today is that you'll give me your write-in vote, Casey Cooper for treasurer, so that between now and November, we can have a contest and let the best man win. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Our next two speakers are both running for Washington State Representative for District 13. Danny Bolliard and Tom Dent. Danny, you're up first.
Hello everyone, my name is Danny Bolliard. I grew up in Moses Lake through the high school years. I graduated from Moses Lake with my husband over 20 years ago. We now live in Coulee City with our teenage daughter. We run a cattle ranch. And we are committed to this community. That's where we plan on retiring and letting our grandchildren grow up. So you're here at an old-time political rally, and that means ultimately we have to get to the campaign promises. So let's get there. First of all, I've already made a promise. I will not raise your taxes, and that includes those that are hidden in measures that contradict our state constitution. Secondly, I'm not going to take union money when those unions are forcing their membership to pay dues that end up going into political action. Third, I'm going to protect you from the federal government. These things like Common Core and Obamacare coming down are not allowable under the federal constitution, and we as states have the right to say no. I will be the one going there and saying no. Fourth, I will not vote for any bill I have not personally read. That's important to me. Part of my background in architecture is I was trained in legal code. I understand it, I know how to interpret it and apply it, and I know when those words mean something different than the average person understands. I will not vote for anything that I don't read myself. And that means you are the one that has the biggest influence on me. It's not going to be unions and organizations. It's not even going to be the Republican caucus. You have the biggest influence on me. Their advice will be second. So in this race, I'm asking for your vote. I am the one who will go there and defend you and defend your constitutional rights, both at the state and federal level within our state. My table is back in the corner under the tree. We've got some really good vanilla lemonade going on back there. I welcome you to come back and ask me questions. My background, my experience are all fairly well known, and you can find out more information back there. Again, my name is Danny Bolliard. I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. And our second speaker for Washington State Representative District 13 is Tom Dent.
Thank you, Mike. Is America great or what? What do you guys think? Come on, let's have something here. You're dang right it's great. You know, we may be having a few issues, but it's still the greatest country the world has ever seen. And you know, I'm a bit of an optimist. We can solve those problems. We can. Pat, thank you for doing this one more time. I've stood up here and spoke for some really fine people. I don't even know how many times I've spoken here. It's the first time I've spoken for myself. So it is an honor to be here again. We moved here with my family in 1955, a town called Othello. That was when the water came, with this big new project with the water. There were no trees, there was sure a lot of dirt, but I grew up with it, and I know what it is. I've lived in this space since 1955. I've been a businessman for over 30 years, aerial applicator. I've signed both sides of the paycheck, and I understand what it is. I am a rancher. I run about 50 head of mother cows. I run about 13 head of buffalo mother cows, and I raise alfalfa hay. I understand what farming and ranching is. I do. I've been married to my lovely wife, Dana, for 33 years. We have a blended family. Yeah, give her a hand. She's great. She has to put up with me. We have a blended family. We have 2 girls and a boy, 3 granddaughters, 1 great-grandson, and we're going to have another one here in just a few days. We're just anxiously awaiting for that little guy to pop out of there, you know. And his name's going to be Gus. I'm running because I think we need mature leadership in Olympia, because we have a disconnect between the 13th district and Olympia. We need people that have life experience, that understands the issues of agriculture, that understands the issues in our community, so we can find ways to solve those issues. And something I've said for years is politics is relationships. If you don't have some relationships, it's going to be hard to solve issues. There is 147 people in the state legislature. If you're going to go over there and be effective, you need to build relationships with those people so you can find common ground, so you can solve problems. You just can't go over and stop something. You have to find people that work with you. And I think it's really important that we do that. I'm a problem solver. I love this country. I love this state. I love this district. And my name is Tom Dent. I'm asking for your vote on August 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, our last 2 speakers of the evening are running for Grant County Commissioner Position B. I'm still trying to figure out how that works. We got District 1, District 2, Position B. Anyway, they are Bob Byrne and Tom Zemke. Bob, you're first. I'm sorry, that's Noah. I made another mistake.
I hope that's your last one. Thank you for sticking around. You have the patience of Noah. I really appreciate it. I'm proud to have been your PUD commissioner for the last 8 years. You know, when I was first elected, I did not anticipate I would be standing here 8 years from then doing this again. My intention was to serve 2 terms and retire. But I find we're in the middle of some really important things at the PUD that I would like to see completed and unfinished business that I'd like to have some say in how it's concluded. We've accomplished a lot at the PUD in the time I've been on the commission. We've been awarded our 44-year new license. We've brought greater efficiency and stability to the PUD. We've restarted the fiber optic program, and we've restructured irrigation and industrial rates to be more fair to all customers. More importantly, I think we've established a policy so that we preserve our low-cost hydropower first and foremost for the residents, the agricultural users, and the small businesses and smaller industries here in Grant County. This will create more opportunities and a more diverse diversified economy for all of us and for our grandchildren, which I have almost all mine here tonight. I'm so proud. My daughter from California came and brought my other 3 grandkids, and it's a real joy to have them here. And they probably won't be coming that much longer. They're getting so old. But anyway, we've had to make some hard decisions at the PUD to meet our relicensing requirements. But the PUD is doing well, and we're strong financially. And you know, that's really important when we face unforeseen emergencies. We were thinking of low water years. We were not thinking we were going to have a fracture in our dam. But we have built up a good reserve, and we'll be able to handle that. I've worked hard as a commissioner to be forward-thinking and to strive towards a PUD that supports a thriving Grant County with opportunities for all our citizens. Now, if I'm re-elected, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to continue to encourage rates that are low and fair to all customers. I'll continue to seek and encourage the use of efficient business practices, and I'll continue preserving our low-cost power first and foremost, so it's used and guaranteed for our residents, our ag users, and our smaller industries. Wow, how did you guys do that? So anyway, thank you very much. I would appreciate your support.
Yeah, thank you. And our last speaker of the evening is Noah Zemke, and hopefully we won't need his boat.
You stole my joke. I want to start by thanking everybody who stayed here tonight. Really, really appreciate it. This is my first time getting out and trying to get out and do something for the community and feel like I can make a difference. And I think that the PUD is a good place to start. My background is in technology, but I've lived here almost all my life. And as far as farming, and I've been out in the fields, I've done work out there, and I feel that all the anticipation kind of led up to Okay, so as far as the farmers, and I completely accept what they do and how they do it, and I am for the farmers and what they do. The water needs to be at a price that it works for them. The electricity needs to be at a price that is fair. I know there's a lot of big businesses working for Takata. I hear all the time how big businesses, they want to come here because we have good prices. Well, I think those prices, everybody here should be saying the same thing. The farmers should be saying, you know what, I like it here because the prices are fair, the prices are low, and they're not exaggerated. And I think that's something that I will strive for. I'm really big on the fiber. I understand the speed the internet needs to be at. And I don't know if you know that recently we were queried and we were shown that we were the fastest internet in the United States, is right here with Grant County Fiber. And I think that's absolutely outstanding what they've done. But we need to finish what we started. We need to get the fiber in all the way across. We need to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to have that same fiber. As a fisherman, I absolutely love the conservation that they do here. And it's something that I'm full-hearted and completely dedicated to and appreciate it. Otherwise, my name is Noah Zemke. Thank you very much for staying again. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Noah. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our old-fashioned political rally for this year.